Hopefully, I'll have enough space. Hopefully, the volume will be okay. I've come across a report in the Metro online. It was actually shared on the British Muslims for Global and Secular Democracy, which is a group that is very vocal about the problem of pan-Islamism. So I'll read out. uh, I'll try and read out the whole report. I don't think it's very long. I think it's important to read the context here, and I'll provide a link. But let me just say, I think this demonstrates the utter cowardice, moral cowardice, as a party, not of individuals, but as a party, that the so-called Liberal Democrats have shown. So this is the report. A Liberal Democrat candidate has been suspended from the party over comments such as there is no such thing as Islamophobia. Daniel Toth-Nagy, 32, was due to stand for election in Manchester but is now facing investigation. In one of the comments, he responded to a Twitter post by MP Naz Shah about Islamophobia, asking, "What about FGM, honour killings, forced marriage? What do you think about the protests of women in Iran, Saudi Arabia, and other Islamic countries against the compulsory hijab?" All totally legitimate questions. What about Sharia in Britain, LGBT rights and education denied by Muslims in Birmingham? That's a response to the school protests. I expect no answer. And just before I continue, he's right because Naz Shah is a disgraceful Islamist. She is very often pandered to the Muslim victimhood narrative whilst ignoring any problems that go on within the Muslim community. She is a disgrace, and I consider her an extremist. That's Corbyn's Labour for you. In a separate exchange on Twitter, Mr Toth-Nagy questions why Muslim-only schools are allowed in the UK. Mr Toth-Nagy describes seeing children in hijabs at a Halloween party as scary, stating that he fears they may be victims of FGM in another post. Um, Mr Toth-Nagy was due to stand as a candidate in the Home Ward. The father of two insists that he has not made comments online or otherwise that express hatred or violence to anyone, and he hasn't. He says he will dispute this suspension. Says that as a liberal, he holds freedom of speech as a principal value. Mr. Toft-Nagy said, "I think everything I've said is freedom of expression. I'm disputing this decision and I'll try to defend myself. As a liberal, the principal value for me is freedom, including freedom of speech and freedom from religion. I never made any comment online anywhere where I expressed hatred or violence against any person." A spokesman from Manchester Liberal Democrats said, "These posts are completely outside our party's values and beliefs and will not be tolerated. Had we been aware of this before, there's no way he would have been selected as a candidate. We have immediately suspended him and we apologise to anyone." I feel sick in just reading this, really, and apologise to anyone who's been upset or offended by these comments. A Liberal Democrat spokesperson said he is suspended from the Liberal Democrats. The views he expressed on social media are in no way in line or represent the values of the party. Which brings me to the question, what the hell are the values of the Liberal Democrats? I feel out of disgust. These posts have looked at them. He has not expressed violence towards any individual. He has not expressed hatred of any individual. He's not expressed hatred of Muslims. This is absolutely shameless moral cowardice by the Liberal Democrats. And it just reminds me, it was one of the main reasons I left the party, because there were other reasons as well. I didn't like their attitudes to crime, and I had issues around the coalition government, but this was one of the main issues. And this just proves it. All this man has done is called out his concern for issues that we know to be happening in society. I might just contact Manchester Liberal Democrats and tell them what I think of them. I mean, it's disgusting. It sounds like this guy's a classic liberal, and I respect him for fighting his corner, but I think he's going to have an uphill struggle because even if they let him back into the party, they're going to censor him. They're going to basically put him in a situation where if he ever said anything similar, i.e., the truth, then they'll suspend him. Um, the Liberal Democrats as a party, and I emphasize as a party, I'm not talking about individuals. I think in every party there are decent individuals. I think there's brave people in every party, there's veterans in every party. But as a party, the narrative they take in terms of this absolute regressive left cardly attitude towards Islamist ideology is pathetic. I cannot think of a single time where Vince Cable or his predecessors or his party took a robust stance and said, we recognize this as a problem in society, we are standing out against it. It's infuriating, absolutely infuriating. And if I were this guy, I wouldn't even. I'd resign from the party. I respect him for standing his corner, but he's going to find that he's going to have his hands and his mouth shackled, even if they do that and back in. So, you know, the Liberal Democrats, you are a disgrace. You are moral cards as a party, and you've no right to call yourselves liberals, because liberals will be speaking out for women's rights, gay rights, human rights. Absolute cards. Shame on the Liberal Democrats. Shame on them. Shame on Manchester Liberal Democrats specifically. Disgraceful.